Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you look back on my channel, I had a short doing coil packs and plugs on this Toyota Camry that was trying to fix a misfire. Turns out it has a bad head gasket. These are actually a common issue with these and a few different Toyota motors and different manufacturers where the aluminum threads in the block will pull out over time and you have to do this fix. Basically, we start by getting all the accessories and things off the engine, like the alternator, then your valve cover, front timing cover. I actually use this piece of cardboard to label and position my bolts. They're different lengths. It just makes going back together a lot easier. Basically, we start by getting all the stuff off the front of the engine, getting the oil pan off so we can get the timing cover off, and working the cams off. They have labels on everything, so just keep that in mind. I still put them organized by each other. I use this impact bit socket set. It's a hex drive, like triple hex drive or something like that, but it's the M12 to get the head studs off. From there you can see the head gasket is torched, but because those threads actually pulled out of the block, you have to get a kit. I have this steam cleaner that I used to clean the front timing cover up, just to get some of the gunk and grease up. It's a Harbor Freight tool. It worked for the time. It still works, kind of, but get the whole thing cleaned up. We get the oil pan off and start working our timing set off. And I got a Cloves timing set from Rock Auto. I love their stuff. And started to get all of that organized and get some of the stuff put on, like the guides and some other bits of plastic and the timing chain, just to get ahead of the game on some of these things. Then I start working by taping off the head of the block. They say not to use painter's tape because the jig can slide back and forth, which it does, but if you realign it properly, this is honestly the best tape to use in my opinion. It's nice and slippery. Clean, clean, clean. Make sure that these metal shavings are caught because you don't want them getting anywhere. It's aluminum shavings. If it gets into the cooling system, it can affect things. It can build up. So it's just important to stay as clean as physically possible. You go about 4.5 inches in with the drill bit. We use the NS300L kit, I believe that's correct, from a gentleman, and it worked flawlessly. It still works to this day, but you just have to read his instructions. Get the tap all the way down and check to make sure that it has the correct positioning above the deck. Then just move and do all the holes. I went ahead and did all 10. They say you can do the inner 3 on both the front and the back, but I went ahead and did all 10 because if I'm in here to do this, I'm gonna do it right. I use a speed wrench because I use only hand tools for this part. You only should use hand tools because you need to be able to feel out everything. You have one shot. Like every hole has one shot to go in correctly. I make sure that I can chase the tap in without thread lock before I put it in, just to make sure it'll go all the way in. Keep in mind making sure there's no metal shavings getting underneath the jig, as well as making sure it's aligned with the hole because it can offset the jig, and if you go in incorrectly, it can screw the block up and then you're back to just getting a new block. Once I did all 10 holes, clean the tape off, start reassembling the engine and putting in my new head studs. You can tell that it's into steel because it clamps and it torqued down just like it's supposed to. Everything felt great. Get to putting the rest of the valve train and everything back together and start working on torquing down the head studs. I lube up the buckets and the cam lobes, get some nice thick lubricant. I went also and cleaned the insides of the valve cover and things like that, and made sure that the other bits of this motor were going to be clean going back together. Then make sure it's in time. Start putting the front cover on and rotating the motor over a bit to ensure that the timing system is going to work correctly. The critical part here is making sure you use correct amount of RTV because it actually has a passage in the front timing cover right there, that oil passage. Make sure that's clear because that feeds your tensioner. The other unique feature about using cardboard is it makes cleaning the bolt heads off a breeze. But getting to putting the whole front timing cover on and getting the tensioner in so you can rotate the motor over correctly, put it all back together. This car still runs great to this day, and like and follow for more.